What's up, everyone, and welcome. I'm Austin. I'm rebranding away from the name Niceish Games, so you'll notice those changes on my channel. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. Normally I showcase things that I've built. Today we're going to be showcasing something that somebody else built. You might have seen my video on the automatic drop and go wood furnace smelting. It was hilariously over-engineered, and then this guy x-tremespeed came along and just knocked it right out of the park. So we're going to be showcasing his design. So I'm going to leave a link to his channel and his video on this. Please go give him a sub and a like. He's putting out some really great stuff. All right, so the way he did this was deceptively simple and incredibly easy to do. So I'm just going to walk through that really quickly. You've got, in this case, 3 furnaces with a storage adapter in each one. They are just simply daisy chained to each other. There are 3 conveyors, 2 in the beginning, 1 for the ore, 1 for the wood, and then 1 for the products here. The products one is just has whatever it is you're making there, with nothing in the min and max. You would, of course, if you had some sort of distribution system, you could come from this conveyor off into your system. I'm just going to dump it into this box. The 2 in the front, 1 is for wood, 1 is for ore. I've set it up just with 2 boxes. I think he did 1. So if you did 1 box, you would put a splitter here, an industrial splitter, to bring these together. But if you use 2 boxes, it has the same effect. The top one here is the ore, and so you just have the three metals. Now, he set this up as 6, 12, and 3 as far as the max destination, which is very clever just because of their different smelt speeds. I tried this out and it worked great, so I kept them at those max settings. And then the wood, I ended up setting mine to 14. I think the original one had it set to 12, and I had a couple of instances when I was testing this where I ended up with some ore left over. So you can play with that depending on what you set the ore maxes above. You might have to adjust this a little bit, but 14 seems to work. But just go ahead and play around with that. And then as far as wire, and then bringing these together, of course, he has these set to a combiner just to bring them into the furnaces. And then as far as and that's pretty much it for the industrial part. As far as switches go, there are just 3 items. We have a branch switch to distribute power, a timer, and an igniter. That's it, which is awesome. I mean, this entire system uses what, 6 volts, yeah, and that's a lot better than what I did. So the timer itself is set to 0.25, which is a really good idea because that minimizes the wear on the igniter. To wire this up is really simple. So from a battery or a power source, this is running to the branch out is set to 6. That branch out, which is this blue line here that runs all the way through to the 3rd conveyor there, that just runs to the power in on this first one. Its pass through runs to the power into the next one. Its pass through, if you follow the blue line there, runs to the power in of the final conveyor over here. And then its pass through, I've changed that to orange. That one is running to the power in on the switch right here, on the timer, I should say. And you should have 3 arriving here because you need 1 to power the switch, and you have to pass 2 because the igniter requires 2. So the pass through of that conveyor runs to the input on this switch here on the timer over here. Its output, this yellow line, is running to the input on the igniter, and then again you're setting this to 0.25. And then the last thing you have to hook up for this little system here is the actual, how do you have to have something running to the input, the toggle on your timer. That's going to be the filter pass on the wood conveyor. And so what that's going to do is whenever this passes wood, it's going to ignite this, and really only once, because it'll continue as long as it has wood. It's not, it stays on as long as it's passing wood while it's on. So it should only do this once. I've never seen it run more than once in my testing so far. So you're just going to run that. This is the purple line from the filter pass on the wood conveyor, is going to run to the toggle on here on this timer, and that's it. That is, and then finally the which makes this so much simpler than what I did. What he did was he took the filter pass out of the ore conveyor here, and he ran that to the turn on of the wood, and he did the filter fail of this conveyor to the turn off on the wood conveyor. And so what that does is, and this is what makes it drop and go, is that if you drop ore into here, it's going to pass ore to these smelters here, but that's going to send a filter pass turning on the wood conveyor. So if the wood conveyor turns on, once it starts to pass wood from the wood container or the combo container, if you did it that way, it's going to send a filter pass out, which is going to start this timer, which is going to run that igniter for a second and ignite these. And then what happens is once this runs out of ore in the drop and go, so here you have, if you run out of ore, it's then going to send out a filter fail, which it has right now, and that's going to turn off the wood conveyor, which then once these run out of wood, depending on how much you've put in here, in my case 14, it's going to run out of wood, burn what's left, while this is just taking everything out, and then it's ready to go. So this is quite literally a drop and go system, just really, really cheap and really, really efficient. I mean, he did a really good job on this. So I'm going to demonstrate this. I'm just going to put these, it's the wrong one. We'll go into the ore box. I'm going to put these in there. It's going to pass them, which is going to turn this on. There it goes. That's going to start pulling wood. As soon as it pulls wood and populates, that's going to ignite it. There we go. They're running, and it's just going to keep that. So this is the wood conveyor is going to maintain 14 in my case into these furnaces and just keep it going. And as soon as this thing runs out of ore, which it's going to here soon. Now, remember that when you have these wood boxes, it helps to have lots of stacks. If you want the ore, depending on how much you're doing, you may have to cut your stacks up. In this case, I'm using so little that it doesn't matter. But as soon as it runs out of ore, because right now it's doing the sulfur and there we go. So now it's going to pull in, it has room for the high quality. So now it's pulling in the high quality. There you go. And of course, so you can see the crafting time or the smelting time differences between these. That's why you have to figure out a good number for your fuel. 14 seems to work pretty good for me, but you can play around that. But so it's going to do that as soon as it runs out of ore, which it has. This is going to send a filter fail here in a moment. There it goes, which turns this off. So these have what's just left in them. So there's 10 pieces of wood in here. So whatever's left is going to get smelted off by the wood that's left. So that's why you have to make sure that whatever that buffer amount is enough to handle what you've got going there. So there we go. So those are just going to run out. It's going to keep populating it into here. And as soon as they run out of wood, they're going to shut off. It's going to empty any charcoal that's left. And there you go. It's done. Simple as that. This was a really, really great design. I really would encourage you guys to go check out his channel. Again, I'm going to leave a link for his channel and that video. Otherwise, you can post any comments here. But I would encourage you to give this guy some community support. That's about all I got, folks. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them below. Otherwise, you can get me on my Discord. See you later.